We've been married for 11 years. Even though there was some time between us, we got along great. I was an intern, and she was in college. After she finished, we worked together again. Even though it's been 3 years, she said yes when I asked her to marry me. It's not enough to say that it was the best night of my life. It really was. I thought everything would be great when we got married 8 years ago. We had fun and danced and sang. That night, she smiled so big it felt like the beginning of our lives, and of course the beginning of the hell I had to go through. My wife's health has always been bad, especially when it comes to her genital area. It began with some aches and pains, but over time, it got worse and caused big problems with her uterus. It was a little upsetting that the doctors told us we couldn't have a child. I agreed though because I loved her so much. We got a new house which is very big and has plenty of space for us. She yelled at me because she thought I was trying to repeat the kid thing, but I told her that wasn't the case. I only wanted a happy life with you. My wife and I got along great, and I was glad to have her. But this also caused other strange things to happen. The first thing was that she spent less time with me. I never knew where she was going when she was out. She got home late, and sometimes it felt like walls were there when we talked. I wanted to believe her when she said she loved me. I love her very much, and I want the same for her. Then another bomb went off. The cancer fear. We had surgery on my wife to remove part of her reproductive system to help with the pain she was having again. But cysts were found, so she was sent to an expert to get help with these issues. I thought it would be nothing, maybe she's just having a bad day. When she began seeing someone else, they said it might be a tumor. I'm so scared now that my wife might have cancer. We've been through a few tough times with her reproductive health, but I never thought it would be cancer. My wife told me I should see the expert. I thought, okay, maybe I should. We get inside, and my wife acts incredibly friendly and sweet toward him. This is very different from the distant woman I had been dealing with up until that point. I can't put my finger on it, but something doesn't seem right, but I push those thoughts away. My wife might just be being nice to him. But she told me later that she had to go to a few meetings by herself to treat this. I worked long hours at a desk job at the time. I didn't want to do it, but I thought it might help my wife's treatment go faster if I did. So she began the treatment. I always thought the hours were odd, though. She would go in the afternoon and stay until after many stores had closed. When I asked her about this, my wife said that he liked seeing her after their patients because the possible tumor was being treated with medicine and chemotherapy. I thought, okay, that might be it. During those 2 months, I did everything I could to help my wife get better. I made dinner and cleaned up afterward, even though I work from a desk. But my wife stayed away from me and didn't seem as friendly as she did before. Something was getting really silly. I wasn't sure what was going on, but she sometimes didn't want to be touched or have anything to do with me. After 2 months, I thought my wife would be fine, but the doctor demanded that she keep going with the treatments. There was a problem. But he was seeing my wife at the same time, and she never had any of the side effects of treatment. When I saw that she still had all of her hair, things got strange. When I asked her about it, she said it was a new kind of treatment, and she felt lucky to be able to try it. This didn't bother me again. It was clear that my wife didn't want to talk about it. Of course, I wished I could get rid of these thoughts. Despite this, they kept bugging me, like a wound that won't heal. It was something I really wanted to believe was just in my head. Until I looked at the words. My wife told me to get her something from the bedroom. When I walked in, her phone went off. It was too interesting for me to resist, so I looked down at it. That would be Dr. Roth, the doctor. They were not proper for the business he was in, though, especially since they were from my wife. The playful texts just sat there and made fun of me. She told me he would do this over and over to keep seeing her. She told me I was stupid for not noticing that they were seeing someone else. I was filled with anger. I didn't want to talk about it yet. What if I told my wife now that I loved her? She might try to fight me. Getting them caught in the act was the best way to fix this cheating mess. So that's what I did. That's why I planned to be home late the next time she had a meeting. When I told my wife this, she got angry, which made me feel bad. She didn't even try to hide it, she just wanted me to see them do it. It hurt even more than it already did. I drove to the gynecologist's office on the day of. I knew it was them because there was only one light on. The door was open when I went inside. I heard noises. It was when I got closer that I heard it. "Your husband fell for the cancer scare," my wife told me with pride. "He did." She said he was stupid and easy to use for any evil reason she could think of. I was going to throw up. I kept my hand on the doorknob and listened to what they were saying. I didn't do anything until I heard noises. When I opened the door, I saw that my wife had her doctor in between her legs. She looked so happy. As I called them out, my anger boiled over. My wife looked shocked, but she never denied it. She actually seemed to believe she wasn't guilty. "I cared about you. I believed you shared my thoughts," I told her. That's when my wife told me the truth. She has been mean to me for a long time. Dr. Roth treated her like the woman she wanted to be, and they've been making plans to be together ever since. I saw a red. I believe I saw more than just red. I wanted to hit him, but I held back. I asked him why he did what he did instead. He said it would not change how he does business and that people won't be hurt by what they don't know. That's when I took out my recording. At first, I set it up to catch anything, especially if my wife denied it. He would pay and he would feel bad about what he did, I told him. I told my wife to leave. She begged me to feel sorry for her, but I told her that maybe this wouldn't have happened if she had just told me our marriage was having trouble. She kept it inside. I found out that she had been hating me for at least a year and that Dr. Roth gave her a tumor that wasn't there just so he could have sex with her. The words make me sick, and just talking about this makes me sick. Anyway, on a more positive note, I was able to fire Dr. Roth for good. I also filed a malpractice claim against him, and he was sent to jail right away. For how long? I'm not sure, but I was thrilled when I heard the news. As for my wife, she went after we split up. It looks like she didn't stay with Dr. Roth. This may come as a surprise, but that cheating woman only seemed to care about herself. It hurts to think that she hurt me like this and doesn't care about me. I feel terrible about myself, and I don't think I'll ever get it back. What an interesting post. I've heard of people cheating, but the idea that she doesn't feel bad about it is so cold. Thank you for telling me about this. That doctor is not right. I know that some people lie about being sick to hide cheating, but I never thought she would make up a cancer scare to cheat on you. In a lot of ways, that's disgusting. I'm sorry you have to deal with this again. That could have been done a lot of different ways, but she seemed to care. No matter what, I hope you get better and learn to trust yourself again. There are good women out there, and I get why you're worried about putting your trust in other people. Let's move on to the next story for today. My wife, who is 27 years old, and I have been married for about 2 years. On our first date, we had drinks and talked about interesting things. I found out she was a dentist and that she had just finished. That's how she got through dental school, and so far she's done well. I worked as a freelancer for a company and didn't make nearly as much as she did. Still, I wanted to help her, and the fact that she liked classical music brought us together. We fell in love after I took her to see the music. We moved in together after a few months. All through the next year, we realized we really cared about each other. We both lived in apartments. We were able to buy a home with the money we had saved up. I started getting better jobs and working on my business at the same time. I also paid most of the mortgage even though she had a successful dentist practice. After a year of living in the apartment together, I finally asked her to marry me. It was our anniversary, so I asked her to marry me at a classical music event. We quickly got married after a few weeks because she said yes. Everything was great. I took care of her by getting her nice things when I could. She also gave back, even though she told me I didn't have to. Though I loved her very much and wished I could give her everything. After that, things changed. People told my wife that her schooling was too old for her to get the job. She had to either keep learning or go back to school and get a better education. I wasn't sure what to do when she told me this. That's one source of income we'll need. She was adamant that the behavior was fine. Still, she wanted to run it, but she would be less involved and more hands-off. We agreed on something after some back and forth. I told her she could do it part-time or something. I would take care of us both while she went back to school. While it wasn't a big deal, it did mean that we would both have to live a little less fancy. Going to school full-time is what she did. She told me she would be done in a year and wouldn't have to go back to school for 5 years. She could do it on her own time over the years. I agreed because I thought it would be simple. I mean, I was still making money, right? Then it took place. We were having money problems. It started when they lost a few big contracting jobs. I was sure I could get over it and get back on track. Then I found out that an employee was stealing thousands of dollars from the company. That was something we had to pay for a lawyer to handle, and I had to pay money just to win the case. To put it mildly, it was hell. I had to do this by myself since my wife wasn't there to help. I began to notice the changes at that point. My wife stopped being open and friendly and became detached, almost cold and unwelcoming. When I asked her how school was, she would act like she didn't care. There was a problem. I saw that she went to school at night. In the end, she told me it was because she was trying to get her professor to help her, but something didn't seem right. She wouldn't tell me directly what she needed help with when I asked. She said it had to do with how dentists work and nothing else. At first, I didn't think much of it. She could just be stressed out after all. However, other parts of our relationship got worse. The sex stood out the most. We didn't have it as much. It didn't matter what day it was, she told me she was too tired to talk. She would stand up in her office to do her homework. I got angry at some point. Why did my wife push me away and throw me out? I became interested. My friend thought she might be cheating on me after I told him about it. That is ridiculous. Not honest? Why would she lie to me? Then it hit me. Maybe that's why she stopped talking to me. My friend said that looking at texts and videos would be the only way to show it. I did that. She left her phone out one night while she was in the shower. When I opened it, I saw some texts, but I thought it was just bait. All of them were for Dr. B, and there was a heart next to their name. She flirted with this person and told them she wasn't going to be home late and was going to spend time with him. I needed to learn more about Professor B. I looked through the school records and found Professor Burns, who is one of the main teachers in the dental division. Everything made sense at once. There is a distance between me and my wife, and she doesn't like any kind of closeness. I felt bad about it, but I knew what I had to do. I quickly came up with a plan. My wife had to give a talk for her dental school project. I changed it on her computer. When I did it, I smiled. My wife told me about her talk. I asked if anyone could see it. I told her I'd come see her after she said yes. She got scared and told me I didn't need to. But I was adamant. I walked in on the day of the talk and sat right in the front row. When it was her turn, I watched. When my wife opened the PowerPoint, she lost her smile and looked shocked. Everything she sent while cheating, letting everyone here know that she was seeing Professor Burns. I showed her a couple of movies I found on her phone as well. I asked my wife again what it was when she asked. I told her I would not let her cheat on me so she would not get away with it. I told her she was cheating on me and I didn't want to be around her. What she finally said was that Professor Burns was a good person who made her happy. I told her that wasn't an excuse and I didn't like her at all. When Professor Burns was found out, he was fired right away by the staff. They said he should never go back or teach at the college again. Maybe he never got another job, or maybe his past kept coming back to haunt him. My wife felt bad about being used as a cheater, but the dean took it upon himself to kick them both out. It was found that my wife plagiarized a couple of papers, so she was also turned down by other colleges. She lost her job and couldn't go back to dental school. I also threw her out of the house. I paid the debt myself, which was tough. I'm not sorry about it. I don't like it when she cheats on me. He had a lot of money because he had big papers, so she did it. But it is what it is, and it stinks to learn about this. OP, it's sad that some women think it's okay to cheat on their teachers. It was smart of you to read the signs and act on them. I hope you find someone important one day. There are women who will not cheat on you. If you ever need someone to love and accept you for who you are, I hope you can find them.